Hey, there we go.
Happy Halloween in Greenville, North Carolina, the Halloween city in America. It is week 10 of college football here on the Downey Sports Network. This is the College Football Show. I'm Jacob Miller. He's Paul Phillips. We won a god darn game. We won a game.
Convincingly.
With points.
Offensively, it was
With
convincing.
points.
I know.
We scored.
Most points we have scored in a conference game since being in the American, which our first season was 2014. So is it our 11th season in the American?
Yeah.
We had all those games against UConn, all those shootouts we had with UCF in Cincinnati, and it came down to Temple in the year 2024.
I mean, it's been a rough year when you're bragging about a win against Temple.
And in which we gave up 34 points.
Yeah. If you're watching, feel free to start hitting the chat up. We'll answer questions throughout the show. YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that normal jazz. If you're on Twitter, give us a follow, retweet the link, share with a friend. If you are in the chat, pull a page out of Josh Pate, who is currently on my shit list.
Oh?
Yeah, he's a moron. Tell us where you're listening from. We'll shout you out.
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump it right into it. ECU 56, Temple 34, 500 yards of total offense, 3 sacks on the day. Caden Hauser 269 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 16 for 29 through the air.
He looked like what everyone calling for him, including me, and I think you as well.
Yeah.
Everyone before the season calling for him to be the starter. He looked exactly like what we expected in this game and what we probably should have been experiencing the majority of this season already.
From what I remember at his limited time at Michigan State, he was about a 62% passer.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to some folks today, and if I was more talented with how to work things on social media and stuff like that, I would have clipped where both of us, I'm pretty sure, said that Caden Hauser should be the starter because he had more experience and not to kick a man while he's down and the coffin's closed and he's already buried and in the ground, but that's more evidence on why Mike Houston was not the guy here at ECU.
Yeah, talent evaluation. Once he could get them to school, talent evaluation was suspect.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time talking about 2 coaches last week, and we'll probably continue to talk about coaching this week and the next coming weeks. And why does Charlotte look like just a bad version of Georgia Tech with those uniforms?
Yeah, it's what they were wearing when we played them, and
those are atrocious.
Yeah, they tried to go for a gold thing, and it turned out
they're like Dijon mustard yellow.
It turned out like your grandmother's wall. It's the perfect shade of beige, and I think it perfectly describes their football program.
Yeah.
So well done, Charlotte.
Yeah. Were you at the game?
What?
This weekend?
Oh yeah.
How was the crowd? How was ECU's faithful coming off of firing?
In numbers, it was not great. It looked, especially on my side, which is the Sun side, not the Tower side.
Yeah.
It was pretty lacking. And it was visible on TV as well. But those of us who were there were getting after it.
Getting rowdy at Dowdy.
There was some noise at Dowdy, and it was, again, for the numbers that we had, it was pretty rowdy. Students, please stay through the game. Don't leave at halftime because it was embarrassing. That was the one thing. Like,
that's a consistent theme with us, though.
No, I know, but when there's already not a lot of them showing up, and then most of them want to go ahead and leave. I mean, it was the band and
a handful,
the scallywags, the Midget Maniacs. That was about it over there in the Boneyard. So that was unfortunate. It was kind of depressing to watch. But then again, we were there for the Scotty Montgomery years, and while I was there in the Boneyard the whole game, every game, I understand why people weren't. So again, and even in this situation, I get it, but also at the same time, it just does not look great.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, those of us that were there were getting after it.
Add to the stats on the day, Rajah Harris, 11 rushes for 130 yards and a touchdown. the leading receiver, 4 receptions, 117 yards. Smith with 101 yards on 4 receptions. Just a productive day. From the most part from the offense. Defense has been kind of lackluster the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Which is not the unit that we need to be lackluster when our offense is already. I mean, they just showed that against basically a layup of a team that they can go out there and move the ball and score the points, but we got to have something to back that up, especially getting late into the season when we're still making a push for a bowl game. So
you got the mighty Florida Atlantic coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, a team that we managed to beat last year. So that tells you anything about how we're feeling, how we'll be feeling next recap. But
yeah, and they seem to manage. I'm just kind of looking through. They score a decent amount of points, except for I guess against UConn and Army. They only scored 14 points on UConn.
That's
impressive.
Crazy. How many did UConn score?
48.
God.
Would not imagine losing to UConn in that fashion, but
no, losing to UConn, honestly, the last couple of years is like it's not great, but like they're a team that could beat some teams here and there. There was that one year where they went to a bowl game, I think.
Yeah.
I think they were 6-6. That was not last season, but season before last. But even still, losing to UConn is already a funny ha-ha thing. Getting blown out to UConn
that's another.
Is a special kind of suck that I guess only the fellas down in Boca Raton possess.
Yeah. At least they had that basketball season.
Yeah, they do have
a couple
Final
years
Four.
ago. Yeah.
So they got us beat there.
Not to move us too quickly into coach talk, but it has kind of been the bulk of discussion. You are a Sloan guy, are you not?
I am. I don't know who the best candidate would be. I've kind of after Saturday, and I've just kind of been enjoying the tail end of that win. So I haven't given it much thought. I'm still a Sloan guy.
And that was
I like Riley too. I'm just not
that was the two
on
guys I talked about last year, and not to just rehash things I talked about last week, but I went through Sloan's team offense as either a coordinator or just a coach on the offensive staff. 19 at Louisiana Tech, 35th in the nation. 20 at Louisiana Tech, 118th. Big drop off.
Definitely.
That was the year that Skip Holtz got fired.
Yep.
21, pick it back up to 78th. But if you look at their passing yards, almost 262 yards a game, and then over 100 yards rushing a game. So still moving the rock. And then when he got to LSU, 25th his first year, first in the nation the second year with the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
And so far this season, he's 26th in the nation, averaging almost 450 yards offense a game.
Yeah.
Garrett Riley, on the other hand, in 21 at SMU, was 13th in the nation. TCU, national title year, 27th. 52nd at Clemson, and 7th so far this year with Clemson. Which the two things Matt and I talked about for a little bit that I like from those two is you see quarterback development.
Yeah,
I mean, you can just look at the stats. You don't even need to watch the games, which I wouldn't recommend, but you can just look at the stats and go, okay, well, you see a clear jump from a year one with a guy to year two.
Definitely.
Which is something we haven't really had the ability to even have here.
No.
Just quarterback development in general has been lackluster, so to speak, outside of the local kid who just, I mean, we all knew he was going to be good. It was just a matter of time before Holton got going.
Exactly.
I still think Holton was underdeveloped while he was here.
I think so too. I think as good as he ended up becoming, I feel like it was kind of a slow burn where maybe it's partly on him, but also it just kind of felt like he had all the talent to get to that point. It just took so long that he couldn't get it all while he was in his 5 years at ECU. And so I don't know. I feel like
did they steal our flag? I mean, it says 49ers. It doesn't say no quarter. We don't even do that anymore.
I know. We're not the only ones that do it. That's a whole
Ooh! Man got killed.
Sponsorship issue.
Yeah.
But
yeah, why don't we do that anymore?
My freshman year, 2018, it was still Coke, and so it was Coke branded at the bottom. Going into 2019, school
Everything
switches to
switches
Pepsi,
to
they just don't
yeah.
end up making a new
flag. Because I
flag,
remember that
so-
my freshman and sophomore year here.
Yeah.
The Scotty Montgomery era. Hola, Matt.
Producer
Howdy,
Matt.
howdy.
Producer Matt. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you feeling okay?
Here. I feel fine.
Are you
You
sure?
No, not sure.
his
Are
poor Stankies lost
Not
last
sure
night.
at all.
Is your heart on the ground like that easy line drive to Judge?
The worst one was Cole not covering the bag.
I was about to say you made more of an effort getting over to your seat than Garrett Cole did getting to first base yesterday.
And where were your two teams? Cancun.
You think we can afford to go to Cancun
yeah.
from Detroit? Illich has got that team on tight strings, baby.
We lost that series in Los Angeles. If we won game one, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Where we sold.
Yep,
There's
yep.
always next year.
My team for the majority of my life was winning World Series MVP for the Dodgers this year. So shout out Freddie.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with Fredward.
I keep seeing a lot of steam around what is it, Ledford?
Yeah, I
don't know how I feel about
feel
that.
like that's steam that's just trying to get blown up already.
I heard that he said if he was offered the job, he would take it. And then
Yeah,
obviously you got all this
naturally.
news from Garrett Riley. Yeah, I'm not fielding calls. Coach speak. That's how he's going to answer it. The man's trying to win a national title right now.
Exactly. He sure as hell will
You-
answer calls as soon as as soon as the Tigers are gone.
But
They'll when both Tigers are gone, both of them will start fielding calls.
I had a good point brought to me at work today. Does Garrett Riley coach his way out of the job due to what if Clemson makes a run? Because if we're sitting here and Clemson's in the playoff in December and LSU's not, does Joe Salone get a little bump just because
For
he
convenience
can not for convenience, but you got to worry about the transfer portal.
That's true.
So you got that factor. The guy from Western Kentucky I've seen has been getting a little more steam. I wouldn't mind that. They're bowl eligible for what, the 5th or 6th year in a row now.
Yeah, they're just
and he
one
utilizes
of my favorite programs in the country.
I know you use them in NCAA.
That was on purpose. I love the Hilltops.
And obviously he uses the transfer portal quite well there, which is something I would love to see here. Just knowing we're not going to get those marquee recruits.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at everything that we have from a facility standpoint, the biggest, and it's not even really that close, on-campus G5 stadium, which people rave about when they come, aside from obviously some of the fans of the folks just down the road. Yeah, some of the folks and fans of the teams from down the road.
I mean, hell, our stadium's bigger than UNC's.
I know. Actually, with the renovations, it is. It is.
That place is tiny, and they still can't.
It's only 6,000, I think, smaller than State, which is the biggest college stadium in North Carolina. Right, we got plenty. I mean, if you've seen our weight room, if you've just walked in between Minji's and Daddy Ficklin before, you've seen the weight room and how it just looks straight out on the field. It's sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
and
we do have nice facilities. Money's pouring in here. NIL is not a factor, which I think loosens the concerns of something Matt and I talked about last week. And can you lure a Garrett Riley away from a Clemson?
Yeah.
Can you afford that? And we see as we're close to having the baseball renovations paid for.
Yep.
And that's strictly donor money. There ain't an NIL problem here. There isn't a funding problem here. And I know that was a reason a lot of the old heads here wanted Skip Holtz. I want nothing to do with Skip Holtz.
See, I'm up in the air on it.
He was great. I get
he's the last coach that we've competed for conference championships with.
And I get that. And there is the nostalgia on him. The man hasn't been a good college football coach in over a decade.
True.
He was not good at La Tech. He ran that program damn near into the ground.
Much harder place to recruit than ECU is.
Yes. Which I still don't.
But then again,
he went from ECU lateral move.
Yeah, 100%. Well, no, but he went from ECU to USF.
That's right. Got canned at USF.
That was just some bad years already for them, and so I don't blame him for that. He was only there for a little bit, then went to La Tech, and they weren't great when he got there. They were obviously not great when he left there. I don't know. I don't think that. I mean, we were obviously all we did was just improve with him. So
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know because he's been coaching in the UFL for the
Yeah.
last few years, or I guess 2, 3, 4 years now. So I don't know if he's ready to jump back into, especially the current landscape of the college game. So I don't know. I'd like someone that's at least been involved with it for the last couple of years. So that's probably what would take me away from Skip. But
Yeah.
then again, we know he can function as a head coach before. All the other guys that have been thrown out really are unknowns.
Outside of the Western Kentucky guy, I've heard some different coordinators thrown around. I had one retort given to me on Ledford that I thought about because my whole worry is like I don't know how I feel about hiring a coach that hasn't been in the college game within the last 5 years, let alone 10.
Yeah.
Just with the changing landscape. But college football is closer to the NFL now than it's ever been. So maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing to have a NFL coach that is used to roster management, a salary cap, so to speak.
That is true. But then again, you got to get someone that wants to come be a part of that because it's already pretty unknown just on a day-to-day basis now. But like you think about the outlook for the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, it could be a completely different thing. We could not even like it could be a sport not even sanctioned by the NCAA anymore, and it's just its entire own entity,
yeah.
you know. So
just something I think you and I talked about many years ago.
Yeah.
That it was moving away from the NCAA being ran. I'm still kind of in between Salone and Riley. Those are probably my two preferred options.
Yeah. I got to pull up because I'm forgetting some of the other names that people have thrown out.
It's a bunch of coordinators. I know one was previously at Tennessee. I know there's a Georgia coach. I want to say an assistant. Well, obviously an assistant. It's not Kirby Smart, but
yeah,
not Kirby Smart's coming to Greenville. You heard it here first on the Downey Sports Network.
But like one of them, or one of the reasons that I would probably put Sloan as my number one at the moment is obviously like him and Riley pretty comparable as far as
they are pretty similar
production on the field numbers wise. But obviously Garrett Riley has been on ECU coaching staffs before. He knows kind of what it's like to be around here. But the thing that gets me with Sloan is that he knows what it's like to be a player here.
Yeah.
And so trying to get people to come play at your alma mater is you have kind of an upper hand in that regard where you can show them and tell them point blank period exactly what it's like to be here, what the fan base is like, and they'll have every reason to believe you because you've been there, done that, not just a guy that was a coordinator, you know, which again, appreciate everything both of them did for the program, but I just Sloan being an alumni of the program, I feel like that kind of sets him above for me. I forgot. Yeah, Tony Gibson's name was thrown out, but I don't know how serious that is. Bryant Vincent is one that was one of the ones I was trying to. That was one of the ones I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
that's an interesting.
That is an interesting
because he's got that Warhawks team firing right now.
And if you can get Louisiana Monroe, where you're pulling more Arkansas kids than South Louisiana kids,
exactly.
I think that's saying something.
He's got them humming.
And I've never really understood the talent deficiency here at ECU.
Yeah.
Being where we're at, and especially when you guys start talking about basketball, I was thinking about this heavy today. Why in the blank is ECU not better at basketball when you have Kinston down the road, you have Farmville Central down the road, you have Millbrook down the road?
Because they're going to Carolina, Duke, Chapel Hill.
Well, the Kinston
and then away from North Carolina too. I
feel like ECU consistently under recruits their own state, and it's kind of mind-boggling to me. And I know you're an NC State fan at heart, but I think you could convince a kid just as easily to come here instead of Raleigh. I mean, I think there's just as much of a lure here. There's just as much money here
from a football standpoint. Yeah,
maybe not basketball, but definitely from a football standpoint.
Well, I'm just saying for football too. Like, I mean, like just like strictly like the game and what it takes, but like just a lot of kids nowadays, they want to, like, especially the ones from small towns, some of them want to kind of stay in like a rural kind of college. A lot of them want to go see a bigger city, you know? So, but then you think about you're playing mid-tier American football here compared to it depends on the year at
Yeah.
NC State, but typically mid to high level ACC football.
play.
And so that's more the lure. Plus, you look at what NC State has done, just like what they've proven they can do year in, year out with development of players and churning
Yeah.
out NFL players.
Which, I mean, if you look
But-
before Scotty Montgomery, ECU was probably step for step with them.
Definitely.
It's just within the last 8 to 9 years, it's been abysmal.
Yep.
It's been a downhill slide. Should have never fired Scotty Montgomery, or not Scotty Montgomery, Ruffin McNeil rather.
I was about to say, we
no, we should have fired him.
We were getting ready to have an hour conversation about that.
Yeah. But then Bill Clark is the other one, the UAB's old coach.
Sue, I want Garrett Riley.
Bill Clark Holmes.
I'm leaning Garrett Riley. Yes, who do you want? May have
Yeah.
already been said.
And I want Sloan.
Yeah,
But-
it's between the two top coordinators in the country right now.
I feel like if we could get Bill Clark, though, that's a home run.
Where's he at right now?
He's out of coaching right now because
Really?
he retired because of health. But I think he's been out for a couple years now. So I mean, I think he could.
Mark Richt 2.0.
Hey, you said it, number. But I mean, when he was at UAB, he was there for 6 seasons, went 49-26 with 5 bowl appearances. At a program which, yes, is in Alabama, which it's not super hard to get kids to go there, but you're competing against you're
that great of a recruiting state.
no, but even then you're also competing with Alabama and Auburn,
Georgia,
Exactly.
Tennessee, Florida, Florida State,
Ole Miss,
Ole
Mississippi
Miss.
all these SEC schools, and you're in the heart of that, and
Yeah.
figure out a way to win games and get enough talent and develop that talent. So Bill Clark, if he's interested in return to coaching college football, that would be a home run,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But I'd say right now, of the realistic candidates, I'd say Joe Sloan.
Yeah. Move us on. We'll do a little week 9 recap here. First game we had was Notre Dame 51 against Navy at MetLife 14. Just a shellacking from the word go. Notre Dame just seems to be on a path to the playoff, to what I'd like to say is everyone's dismay.
Yeah.
Not really looking forward to having them in the playoff. I really don't have much more to say about that. I just really don't want them to play in the playoff.
They're riding the coattails of Texas A&M so hard right now. Team that they beat week 1 in College Station, and all A&M's done since then is just win. So Notre Dame obviously has done the same thing too, aside from a little slip up to the Huskies of Northern Illinois. But Notre Dame looks like they just improve more and more each week. I don't really have a whole lot from that game.
I don't have anything.
Just because I was, I really don't either. But I just Navy going in had an outside chance at least keeping it competitive. Didn't really happen.
No.
That game probably went how it was supposed to, but that doesn't take anything away from Navy. I don't think.
No,
either,
I don't
especially
think so either.
Looking down the schedule, last game of the season at home in Dowdy on Senior Day, we got the mids coming in. So,
and that's if they have a meeting. Actually, I know they have a meeting with Tulane beforehand, which Tulane could ruin a potential back-to-back Army-Navy game if they were to beat the midshipmen. Move on to Illinois, went to Oregon and got, or it might have been the other way around, but either way, Illinois gets shellacked, only puts 9 on the board. Oregon's not letting anyone not named Ohio State score on them, or Boise State for that. Apparently, just gotta have State.
if only NC State was on the schedule this year.
Oregon 38, Illinois 9. Oregon looks, I wouldn't say far and away the best team in the country, but definitely
the solidified number 1 team.
They are the number 1 team, best of the undefeateds.
Definitely.
They have an easy path to just kind of keep riding the rest of their schedules. Pretty manageable.
Yep.
We'll see who they're going to play in Indianapolis in the Big Ten Championship, because
it's going to get.
We'll talk about a certain school in Columbus a couple times today.
Oh yeah.
LSU goes to College Station 23. A&M 38. Quarterback switch seemed to answer all the problems. And if you're LSU at Zachary Ballard, you got to be shitting down your leg right now if a mobile quarterback is what dismantles your team, and you got Milroe coming into town next week. Have fun, buddy. Have fun, buddy, because if Alabama's good at one thing, it's their mobile quarterback.
I think I think that's the game that hits the bet for us.
Yeah, I think that is the one that gets it
I
to
think it's
9.
I think it's the best chance we got left, but I think that's
That second stat's awesome.
what
What
it
does it
says.
say?
Said expelled from 8 different schools by the 11th grade.
Jesus Christ.
Biff Posey
I'm
or
not a Charlotte guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I do love Biff. He's a special character.
8 schools. That's wild.
You said by 11th grade?
By 11th grade, he'd been expelled from 8 schools.
That's impressive.
You're trying at that point.
Exactly.
He was trying to set a record, man. But yeah, that and it looked like the LSU quarterback was seeing ghost
Yeah.
in the second half there.
Yeah, I was going to say Nussmeier was a tale of two halves for him. He was just humming along, unstoppable. Good Lord.
It's 6-2 with 10.
Who are you guys
28
playing?
Boston.
in the second period. They
Jesus.
scored 6.
It was-
in less than 30 minutes.
It was 4-1 at the first intermission.
The Red Wings suck, by the way. We are not good. We are not good.
Yeah.
And it don't matter who's in that. We're awful. We have 3 good players.
Welcome to the Downey Sports Hockey Show.
Yeah. But yeah,
As I
A&M wins.
look at the monitor and not
Yeah.
the camera.
A&M wins 38-23. Next, I just take deep pleasure in this because I said it at the beginning of the year, and it's been nothing but right. Missouri goes into Tuscaloosa, scores a whopping 0 points against the Crimson Tide as Alabama wins 34-0. Missouri, you're a joke. Have fun in the Boca Raton Bowl, and we'll see you next year. That's about all I got from that.
I mean, we were on them early as far as calling them out for being fraudulent. We mentioned it before the season where this team could be really good. It could go downhill for them pretty quick. And boy, was it ever
And
option B.
They still might only lose 2 games.
Oh yeah,
But they're not good.
No.
They are not a good football team. Definitely out of
They're-
playoff
yeah, I was about to say this
contention.
Playoff is over for them.
They're one of the 2-loss teams you do not have to worry about. Now we'll move on to a 3-loss team. Vanderbilt at home loses 27-24 to Texas.
It was a
Pretty good
great
game.
game.
Yeah. Texas only scored 6 points in the second half.
Yep.
Um,
Vandy never let that game get out of reach.
no.
Which is
They
a testament to how that
never
team
really
is.
felt like they had control, but yes, they
No.
never let it get away from them.
They gave themselves a chance basically the entire game. And so when it got to what the final score ended up being, I thought we might have something on our hands, but
Run the ball, take a pass, run the ball, run the
Well,
ball.
he's
run
got
the ball,
he's
run
got
the ball.
ECU's playbook from last year. Fake a pass and run the ball, the reverse play action.
Yeah.
The action play.
But yeah, Vandy kind of been the feel-good story of the year outside of Indiana.
Yeah, definitely. I mean Illinois too.
Yeah,
which they haven't
it's kind of fallen
nosedived.
off the rails a little bit. but-
I think they'll be all right though. Obviously, I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they're another one of those feel good stories for sure. But definitely Vandy. I love it. I love it.
Dandy Vandy, man. Move us along to just because I saw your screen, trick or treat,
Yeah,
real or
this
fake.
is not real or fake.
It
This
is
week.
trick or treat this week. Quick little show note before we hop into trick or treat. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, Twitter, retweet, like, give us questions. We try to reply as much as possible. That's about it. But real or fake, aka trick or treat this week, Texas A&M.
I think they're legit. Dude.
Yeah.
Because their
front is
It-
unreal.
I'll tell you this. With Marcel Reed, they are real.
Yeah.
Anybody else behind center?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not what's the kid's name?
Wegman.
Yeah, Connor Wegman. Not sold on him whatsoever, but that's literally what changed the game.
Me having a name in my back pocket.
I know, right?
for once.
That's usually me doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that switch changed the entire course, I think, of Texas A&M's
Oh, yeah.
season. Because they looked just down and out. That crowd was down and out.
Mhm.
That team just couldn't do anything. Like they were just lethargic and could not move the ball. Marcel Reed comes in, which LSU had no game plan for.
Which,
and
if
runs
you're
all
LSU,
over
just
them.
like, how do you not? The kids played 3 games
You
this
got
year.
to know that that's at least an option. You got to know
In the
that.
back of your head, be like, well, maybe if things go poorly, they bring the running quarterback in.
Exactly.
No.
No, we're just going to plan for this.
Defense has been allergic at LSU since Les Miles has left.
Yeah. Although I don't know. There's a lot of defensive talent on that
The
national
Natty team,
championship.
yeah, they still let up a lot of points.
They did, but again,
yeah.
whether they
Who
were great
cares?
as a unit, the
Yeah.
talent on that team was unreal.
Next on here, Vandy. Are they real?
By Vandy standards, hell yeah, they are.
By top 25 standards,
Well, I mean,
they're real.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, they're like a legit football team. They're obviously not like an outside contender for the playoff. They're not like in the old, as in last year, escape of college football. They're not a New Year's Six team, but I mean, they're a solid football team.
They could play in like a Capital One Bowl, Outback Bowl.
Oh yeah,
great bowl game for them. I mean, that's a great bowl game for mid 2000s Georgia.
They got big Citrus Bowl vibes. Citrus Bowl or Outback Bowl. That's where Vandy feels like they should go this year. No matter how many teams in the SEC are probably better than them, that just feels like a Vandy spot this year. They're because they're fun to watch too. That's the thing.
Yeah,
is that Pavia is whether he's having the best game of his career or he's in a slump, he's always going to be fun.
Yeah,
and
he is.
More often than not, he's playing the quarterback position pretty damn well. So I don't know. I'm all in on Vandy, and again, just the feel good story.
Yeah. Well, I've knocked down one fake team in Missouri.
Yeah.
I knocked down another in Ole Miss. I think this is going to be my third one. And as Kirby Smart used to say, I'm going to keep chopping wood on these fake teams. I'm already telling you, I think Miami's the next fake team in the country. So, all right, easy enough. I think Miami's so fake.
I was hoping that they would be the next one because I'm so out on them. I understand the Cam Ward Heisman hype, but outside of that, that team,
their defense is so bad.
It doesn't. They play down to everyone they play. Without Cam Ward, this team probably wouldn't be a bowl team. And that's all I got on Miami. Yeah. I've been slowly getting more and more out on them the last couple of weeks.
I think the last 2-3 weeks I've been just
honestly ever since Virginia Tech
sounding the horn,
which was early on, but like ever since then I've had my guard up on Miami, and I'm not convinced that. I think they'll probably end up playing for the ACC championship. I think Clemson will just dog walk.
Oh, I think Clemson.
It'll be
what did I say to my dad today? I said I'll take Clemson this week. I'll take Clemson next week. I'll take Clemson on the road, at home, neutral site. I'll take Clemson. I don't care. Yeah. They're gonna beat Miami.
Oh yeah.
Next one, Billy Napier goes 6-6, and just to give you a little more context, they got Georgia this week, at Texas the following week. LSU, Ole Miss at home, and Florida State.
I think they win their last 3 games.
They're 4-3 right now.
I think they could go 7-5.
You think it saves his job?
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I think they at least get 2 wins. I think they get 6 wins.
At minimum, I think they'll win the last 2.
I think they'll beat
Ole Miss and Florida State.
Yeah.
Which we thought that was just going to be the suck bowl of all suck bowls. Florida State. But Florida might beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss, I'm so out on. We've already gone over that in previous weeks.
Fake as shit. I can't wait to hang 40 on them again.
But I mean, I think like not to jump too far ahead getting into this weekend, but I don't think that they're going to beat y'all by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game there.
It'll be competitive at the half.
Oh, definitely. I think y'all end up pulling away at some point.
I think it's going to be closer than the Georgia fan would like it.
I completely agree. I think they'll have y'all sweating a little bit.
Yeah. Last on here, leading into the slate, as this will be the perfect transition as their first game we'll talk about in Week 10, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
You'd have to ask me after this weekend.
I think they're fake, and that is leading into our next 2 segments here.
They might be. They might be the most talented team in the country.
That injury at left tackle is
Oh, I know.
is-
That's bad. And I'll get to that.
Which I didn't think one player could make that big of a difference for a team, but God bless, does it really
know.
look like
Well,
it's a
because
problem?
their bread and butter is having the two-headed
Heading
monster at running back.
and now they can't run the ball.
No, they can't. And so, but then it is their left tackle, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Will Howard's a righty.
Mhm.
So there goes his blind side
Mhm.
protection off the edge. Yeah. I'm not sure about Ohio State.
Well, we'll jump right into it. Week 10 slate here. Just to first game of the week, like I said, Ohio State -3 at Happy Valley. Over under 46.5. I like the over for what it's worth.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I don't know.
I like the over for what it's
I
worth.
lied because of one of my notes.
I'm not going to give any insight on this game because I will have it in our next segment. But this is the marquee matchup of the week. One of the best games of the year.
Yep.
Definitely top 5 game of the year. Can Penn State right the wrongs against Ohio State? I saw a stat. Ryan Day, I think, is 1-11 against top 5 opponents, but yet James Franklin is 1-8.
He's
1-9 against Ohio State.
This game would put him to double-digit losses to Ohio State.
So, I mean, you got the tale of two sides here. You got one coach who can't beat a top 5 team, Penn State, a top 5 team. You got one coach at Penn State who can't beat Ohio State. Cannot beat them.
That's my first.
Immovable forces.
Yeah.
That's my first note. My first note I have is 2 coaches with no clue how to win a big game.
No, just two.
Zero idea.
2 coaches that are allergic to winning big
Exactly.
games. They need a fucking EpiPen.
I think Penn State's the better coach team too. I think
so too.
A spoiler, they're my pick to win this game. I got Penn State, especially at home with
I don't care who plays that quarterback for him either.
No, I don't either.
I really don't.
I'd hope for their sake it's Aller, but not if he's not 100%.
Yeah.
Like, or at least
But even if they go to the other kid, he is more of a Penn State kind of quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah. He's a classic Trace McSorley kind of guy.
Put it on a dime. Just not to ruin our next segment too much, I'll jump ahead to the next game, and I'm really curious how you feel about this. Texas A&M goes to Columbia, 7:30 kick at Old Willie B. Tough place to play at night. Over under 43.5. A&M is a 3-point favorite.
I'm on the Cox, dude. I'm on the Cox.
I'm so flip-flopped on this game because I'm like, well, the front 2 very talented front sevens. If they go Wegman, I don't really trust him to get outside the pocket. But if they go with the other kid, can he get away from havoc? And then I look at USC, and as good as that defense has been when they've played better offenses, the defense has given up points because the secondary is not as good as that front 7.
Definitely
I
not.
also think you have 5 first-round draft picks on the combined defensive lines here.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, there's just talent upon talent.
My thing is now we saw with LSU, they had no game plan for Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
South Carolina is probably going to go ahead and game plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll at least.
I mean, you got to think Beamer's going to be way more prepared.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm saying they'll probably prepare for him as the starter. 'Cause I don't see how Wegman continues on as the starter unless Marcel Reed just has a
Bad
horrid
outing.
showing, which I think he could. I think this is a perfect letdown spot.
Yeah. Everything screams takes South Carolina in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, coming off probably the biggest win in program. No, I shouldn't say that. Biggest win since you beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Since you beat Johnny
I was
Manziel
gonna say
beat the
biggest win
Tide.
since Johnny.
Biggest win since Johnny. This is the first time your program.
Well, the Alabama game a couple years ago.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. God, I've dropped 2 F-bombs this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting spot. I stayed away from it gambling wise just because it scares the piss out of me. But
yeah, I stayed away from it. Couldn't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised either way here. I mean, I think A&M's got a real good shot to just kind of keep these good events going. I wouldn't be surprised if their britches get a little too big here. I mean, everything screams let down, and playing it. I know what playing at William Bryce at night can look like.
Yeah.
It ain't a fun place to play. And that fan base gets drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Gets drunk. Might be a top 5 drunkest fan base in the country.
It's definitely close.
That might be off-season content.
Oh, I'm so down.
drunkest fan bases because I think ECU is the top 5 drunkest fan base.
Oh yeah, because they don't even go to the game.
At least top 10. Well, neither does South Carolina.
I don't know. They're gonna be packed out in that place on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that place will be packed.
But
And you can leave and come back in there, can't you?
I believe so. But that's one of my notes of the game.
It was the old Steve Spurrier tactic. He tried to get them because they would always leave at halftime to go get liquored up and try to sneak back in. And Spurrier's like, you got to let him back in. He goes, this place is half empty after the half.
But that's one of my biggest points of this game is that I think, honestly, in the same kind of vein as the Penn State Ohio State game, I think just like Happy Valley will be, I think Williams-Brice is going to be the difference in this game. I don't know if A&M is going to be able to, with their pretty inexperienced quarterback, I don't know how well they're going to be able to adjust, at least quickly.
SEC road game.
Exactly. And no matter where you are, unless you're Vandy, it's always going to be tough. So I think while A&M on paper should definitely win this game, I think it'll be a fairly close game.
I think it's going to be a great. I think it's going to be probably one of the better games of the weekend.
Oh, I think so too. Even on paper, I think Texas A&M would definitely be the favorite to win. I think it'd be fairly close though. I like this spot a lot for South Carolina.
I do too.
And I got them outright. I think they're gonna win the game.
I think I'm right there with you. I just everything screams letdown for Texas A&M here.
Yeah, but then again, that probably means that they're going to go out there and win by 17. So.
You know, usually when everyone zigs, you should zag.
Exactly. I'm zigging hard though.
Next on here, I got Louisville at Clemson. Clemson is a 10-point favorite, over under 62.5. Two offenses that score a lot of points.
Yep.
Louisville with a piss poor defense. Clemson with what I think is another talented front seven group.
Yeah.
Clemson's been rolling. I don't know who said Clemson was going to roll after they got their ass beat by Georgia. Who would have said that?
Imagine that.
God, must be a real smart guy.
I think,
even though it took him 5.5 years to graduate college.
Yeah. It happens. It took me 5 even, so we're about right there. But I think Clemson wins this game big. To be honest, I think
Clemson kills them.
I don't think Louisville's defense is going to be able to keep up past the first half.
Kills them.
I think Clemson wins this game very convincingly, and I think that they're putting themselves square in national title conversation after this one.
I'm right there.
I think this is a huge prove-it game for them.
I do,
and I think they're going to prove it.
Yeah, I do too. And then we'll lead into the trick-or-treat game of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Real or fake? We got Pitt going to SMU. SMU 7.5-point favorites. 57.5 is the total. Give me the ponies, man. The ponies keep rolling.
I'm on board with that.
Which there's if A&M were to win this weekend, because both these conferences have, the Big Ten's got it going on too. We're getting into tiebreaker scenarios already.
Yeah.
Because if SMU wins this game, you can assume Clemson's going to win out, and Miami will win out more than likely.
Probably.
Now you're looking at strength, your opponent's win total. Does Miami get jumped by SMU just because they have Pitt on the schedule?
They might. And then, even looking at, you can think even bigger picture with SMU. If they do end up running the table the rest of the way and do go play for an ACC championship, you could be looking at this team as playoff team strictly because
a loss that we thought was a joke at the beginning of the year, too.
Is one of the best losses anyone's got in the country right now. Is with their only loss being at BYU.
Yeah,
that's one of their best wins is a road loss to BYU, I think. But there's you compare schedules between these two teams specifically. Pitt, yes, they're undefeated. But you compare who they've played to who SMU has played and kind of what the outcomes of those games have been. SMU, I just think, is a much more trustworthy team. I think that they've just been cooking with fish grease the last few weeks. They continue to look better and better. I think SMU not only wins but probably covers this game too. I think that they win.
I don't think they cover, but I think Pitt keeps it inside the number. But I do like the ponies here.
I think SMU wins it. Not handedly or super convincingly, but I think that they win and honestly potentially win by a couple scores.
Yeah. I'm going to throw one more game in here just because it's fun. If you are watching and you want to put any questions, whether they be ECU specific or not, about coaching, about the game after the FAU after the bye week. Put whatever in the chat. We will answer them right after pick 6. But I'm going to think it's the cocktail party, man.
Yeah.
I got to throw the cocktail party in there. Georgia, 16.5-point favorite. I'm not going to tell you which side I'm on. Over under, I think, is 52.5. If I'm remembering correctly.
It's
that
at
sounds
least in
about
that
right.
ballpark.
I can't remember if this is the last year it's going to be in Jacksonville for a little bit or if they're playing one more. But it will be going to Atlanta one year and then Tampa the next as they do renovations to old what is it, Everbank Stadium or something. Might be going down to Jacksonville next year for the cocktail party. But like we said, Florida's Florida is not the team I think everyone at the beginning of the year thought they would be. Just walked over. Like we said, I think it's gonna be a close game at the half.
Yeah, I definitely think it.
And I don't think we're surprising anyone on probably both of us saying Georgia's going to win this game. But
and quickly on the location, next year it will be in Jacksonville. Then it goes to Atlanta, then to Tampa.
Yeah.
Then apparently they're expected to return to Jacksonville in 28 on a multi-year contract.
Atlanta in 2026. Old Raymond James down there in Tampa 2027, and then back in Duval.
Because y'all are so good in Atlanta.
Yeah, we love playing there.
You were this year.
It's a rare occurrence. I hate playing that place.
You probably still got another game in there too. So
yeah, more than likely. We'll see.
You could have too.
I didn't even think about that. Son of a
you
bitch.
could have too.
Son of a bitch. All right. Head into the pick 6 as we get to the tail end of the show here. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, switch it up this week. Let you go first.
Off the top, I think it's one of my if my name were Josh Pate, I'd call this one of my best bets. Illinois money line at home against Minnesota. Illinois is a 2.5-point dog in this game. Minnesota's been sneaky, all right. I mean, the loss to Carolina is a big blemish, but it's also week 1. Minnesota's a fine team. I think Illinois is going to get back this game. I don't know how they're a home dog in this game.
Yeah.
Give me Illinois just outright all day.
Okay.
Then we'll move on to the Doors.
Doors.
I got Vandy plus 7.5 at Auburn. I think they could win this game outright.
Yeah.
But plus 7.5. That feels like a balloonish number. I'm not sold on Auburn at all. They've shown some slight improvements over the last couple of weeks, but I think Vandy. I mean, we saw what Vandy has done with. I mean, every game on their schedule so far, aside from like the cupcakes, have been pretty close games, no matter who they're playing. I think that Auburn is quite a big step below some of those Texases and Alabamas, obviously. So I got Vandy plus 7 there, or plus 7.5. We touched on Louisiana Monroe a little bit earlier in our coach talk. I got them plus 10.5 at Marshall. Again, it just feels like a huge number. Marshall, again, another fairly solid team.
Yeah.
ULM has been
cooking.
They've been, at least by their standards, they've been on fire. But I genuinely think that they're a solid football team that could. I don't know if they're. I think mathematically they're, but I don't know what their outlook is for maybe contending for a Sun Belt championship game appearance.
Yeah,
but I think plus 10.5 at Marshall is going to be. I think they can definitely, whether they win or not, I think they can definitely keep it below 10. Then I got Clemson minus 10.5 against Louisville. I think they
love to play.
I think they beat the hell out of Louisville.
I could have 8 games this week.
You will.
I might add that to my card.
Yeah, I mean, 10.5 feels low.
I might add that to my card.
And maybe Vegas knows something we don't, but I think Clemson just hammers Louisville.
I do too.
And then I'm going to finish with a couple of money lines. I got Arizona State money line winning outright at the Pokes in Stillwater. Oklahoma State is just a dreadful team. They still haven't won a Big 12 game yet this season. Don't think they're going to win one now either. This Arizona State team is frisky and fun, in the words of one big cat. So I like this Arizona State team. I think they can go into Stillwater and win convincingly, especially in front of a crowd that probably is not going to be like that interested. So, and then we'll finish it off with Virginia Tech money line at Syracuse.
What do you mean? Will Howard threw 3 touchdowns in the first half last week.
Yeah. To which team?
The other one.
Syracuse, they've shown bright spots throughout the season. we've obviously seen
Yeah.
what their dark spots look like too. Virginia Tech feels like a team that just like they did last year, there's a certain point in the season, like right around midway through, where they hit their stride and just go. And I think that this one honestly has potential to be another ugly one for Syracuse.
Yeah.
So, Virginia Tech money line. I'll let you get to yours now.
All right. Following suit a little bit, I got Penn State plus the 3 and a hook against Ohio State. Another one, this is probably my favorite play of the week. If I had to do a lock, it would be this. Give me Arkansas money line plus 202 against Old Piss.
There you go.
Like the over in the Duke-Miami game, total at 54.5. Duke's scoring over 25-ish points a game.
Yeah.
Miami scoring over 40 points a game on average. This has overwritten all over it.
That could have been real or fake game of the week. Or
It really could have, yeah.
Because Duke is just fake. But Miami, I think, is fake too.
I think there's going to be points. I like the over here. Tennessee minus the 16 and a hook against Kentucky. Kentucky is not shit.
Nope.
They are awful. Outside of those 2 good performances against Georgia and Ole Miss, we haven't seen them since.
I was about to say they're playing a team with a number next to their name. They might show up and win this game.
Yeah, but I like Tennessee at home, winning by 17 points. We go down to Jacksonville, Florida, where them Silver Britches take on that ugly Gotti Orange. I love my dogs this weekend, hanging the 16.5 on them. Yeah. Give me the dogs. I don't do this very often, but I'm betting on the dogs this week. Also, we're going to bet on a dog coach just because why not? Give me Oregon minus 14.5 heading into Ann Arbor. I think Oregon just shellacks the Wolverines this weekend. And then
Michigan's sad. It makes me happy, but they're sad.
They are sad. Then I got my bonus bet of the century, of the year, of the week,
there you go.
Of the extra point.
There you go.
Vanderbilt money line plus 220 against Auburn.
Yep.
So won't take that in the rankings.
You were more ballsy on yours than I was.
Yeah.
But I still think that they can definitely win that game at 7.5.
For those watching and going, Jacob, I don't like your picks. Kind of dumb. I went 5-1 last weekend, so kiss my ass.
I have nothing to say to that. Don't look at mine.
If Michigan State would have scored on their first drive last week, I'm convinced I'd have been 6-0 last week.
Yeah.
This is the most money that's been in my FanDuel account all year.
What's it like having money in your FanDuel account?
It's a rare occurrence because I had to switch away from DraftKings because I ran out of money.
What I did too.
I was out of money on this one.
I
have like 7 futures in there though.
I'm a charity case to Vegas right now. I can't hit a thing.
I don't really see anything from the chat, so we'll just roll right into the Jersey matchups. What you got for us,
before
buddy?
that, real or fake is always a surprise for me. I have
you got a surprise for me.
I got a couple different questions. It is Halloween. So I got they're called. I just labeled them spooky questions just because we'll see.
Okay.
First one, just a blanket statement. You interpret this question however you feel. Right. I have answers for all of mine, but I'll let you just go off the dome. Who is the spookiest team in the country to you at this moment? And how I interpreted it, or how I kind of thought of it, as I was going through this, was a team kind of lurking in the shadows, waiting to ruin some seasons potentially.
Yeah.
Basically, who's the Michael Myers in college football right now? I'll go ahead and give you my answer.
South Carolina might be one for me.
That's my answer.
I would not want to play South Carolina right now
because you look at their schedule.
You know what?
They still have. We'll add in Missouri just because why not? But they still have A&M, Vandy, and Clemson left on that schedule.
I mean, I don't think they'll beat Clemson, but if they did, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
And if I'm Clemson, I'm sitting there riding. This is gonna lock me in. Well, I'm not gonna lock me in the playoffs. So they'll go to the playoffs even if they are 10-2. But you're talking about seeding in this thing.
Yep.
I don't want to play South Carolina.
No. A&M sure as hell doesn't want to play South Carolina.
No.
Vandy wants to keep their magic going, and South Carolina's a team that I think could expose Vandy a little bit just based on their front seven, like we can't shut up about. But I think that they could really get after Vandy.
I'll give you 2 other teams too. I got one, even though they just lost to Michigan. I don't know if I'd want to play Sparty.
No,
I think Sparty's a feisty team. I think Indiana could be in trouble this weekend. Upset alert written all over it. And another team that I spent the first half of the year bashing. I mean, just absolutely bashing. Took their under in their win total. God, I don't want to play Colorado right now.
No, I don't.
I
either.
don't want to play.
That's
Colorado
a-
might be a playoff.
They could still win the Big 12 for sure. Like
They need help.
They are in
They
that
need
race.
help.
They do, but they are in that race.
Because they need Kansas State to lose another game and then beat Iowa State.
Yep.
So they need some help, but
Exactly. But
look out for the Buffs.
I threw Virginia Tech in there too. I just alluded to it a second ago with my pick 6, but this team is, I think, getting ready to really hit their stride. They've started to show signs that they're getting towards it. It's just classic Virginia Tech last couple of years to start off so slow, but then it's a switch just gets flipped.
Here, I'll flip
And-
your question to get Matt involved.
There we
Matt,
go.
who's the scariest or spookiest basketball team heading into this year? Who
Oh,
would you
well,
not want to play
God.
in CBB? I just put you all on the spot right there.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, so start of the season is tough, and in this landscape of college basketball, that's a very open-ended question.
It
I
is.
mean, you know, we're talking 363 teams.
Yep.
So we're talking big landscape.
How you feel about Delaware State this year?
Yeah, you know, I think the MEAC's got some sleepers. No, but realistically, I mean, your powerhouses in the ACC. I think Duke and Carolina are your two teams to watch right now. Carolina with the returning stars, Duke with the new faces and some returning pieces. I think those are your teams to watch.
Could Georgia upset the apple cart in the SEC this year?
That conference is so top heavy that I don't know. They're going to be a solid team. I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up in SEC.
I mean, this is the most
play.
hype. This is the most hype I've seen Georgia basketball
Oh, yeah,
have
no,
since
they're-
Tom Crean took over.
They're
gonna be a
to
solid
break
team
into
for
that
sure.
Top echelon of SEC.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you're dealing with
it's
Alabama's
one
going
of
to be
their
unreal
best
this year. Yeah,
Exactly.
Tennessee's probably still going to be good.
Auburn,
Kentucky's
Even-
Kentucky.
Arkansas.
Even Kentucky without Cal is still going to be freaking
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Arkansas with Cal.
Arkansas with Cal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Florida's always just a pesky team.
I think Georgia could be a thorn in the side of some teams this year. Though.
Mississippi State's going to be good this year, I think. I think as far as if we're talking about like kind of big name teams that get like kind of the way I thought up the question, just like who's kind of lurking in the shadows. They're ranked pretty high. They got a lot of hype going into the season, but if you think about where they've been the last couple of years, they've taken a bit of a step back. I really like this Gonzaga team. I think Gonzaga could be scary this year, and it's not a Gonzaga team that you go into the season thinking is scary, which makes them really scary. I feel like those are the best. Those are the best Gonzaga teams that have the best shot at a championship. Aside from a couple anomaly teams where they've just been uber loaded with talent and preseason number one.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like the national championship loss to Baylor,
Yeah.
things like that. But I agree with your sentiment of just the ACC, like the top of the ACC.
I
And
think
the most fun conference to watch this season, just a little off topic. The Big 12 is going to be must-watch basketball every single night.
Baylor, Houston,
Oh,
Kansas,
Arizona.
Arizona.
Oh
Exactly.
my
You took the exciting teams out of the Pac-12
Exactly.
and put them, the fun and frisky teams again to quote Big Cat,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
out of the Pac-12 and moved them into the Big 12, which was already a fun and frisky conference.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Always. Yeah, you've got your front runner in Kansas, but behind them is always a slew of somewhere between 4 and sometimes up to 8 really freaking good basketball.
You got your
teams.
K-States, your Iowa States, your
Oklahoma State's had some good years. Oklahoma's
Exactly.
has been
Texas
on and
Tech.
off. Yeah,
I mean, we watched
absolutely.
Texas Tech play for a national championship in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
The Big 12 I think is going to be exciting to watch.
I think so too.
How many tournament teams will come out of there? I don't know.
They might eat
But
themselves alive, but God, it's going to be fun to
exactly.
watch.
It's going to be fun,
Fun
to
to
watch.
watch.
them do it. Like, gosh, it's going to be awesome.
I'll get back into my Halloween football questions. Your favorite orange team and or uni?
Oh God.
It could be. I have one for my favorite orange clad team this year. Plus my kind of like the team that's always been kind of my favorite. And I'm thinking predominantly orange. Like
Yeah.
I'd probably throw Boise State in there if I was being loose on the colors. But
I'll go Texas. Does that
Bowling
count?
Green,
Does burnt
Final
orange
Answer.
count? All right, yeah, I'll go Texas.
I,
I've never minded Texas.
Yeah. What'd you say, Matt?
Bowling Green, final answer.
I almost said Bowling Green. This year it's Illinois. I mean,
Okay.
they've been a fun story for a lot of the year.
Well, you know
Obviously-
what 3 teams I wasn't
But-
going to say.
Yeah. But I mean, even you go back a little bit with Illinois with like the Juice Williams days, and I've always had a soft spot for Illinois. But my all-time favorite orange team, not only a lot of the teams that they've had, but their uniforms, Oklahoma State all day.
Okay,
They're
yeah, I do
so
like. I
ratchet
like
this
yeah.
year, but
I like that their Halloween jerseys they're wearing. I'm sure you
Yeah.
might get to that in a
I'll
second.
speak on that in a minute. Scariest mascot in college football. I got a surefire answer.
Are we talking like scary as like intimidating or like hide your kids from this mascot?
However you want
The
to.
Hilltopper. That thing is fucking.
I think he's
There's
so.
the third one.
I think he's so endearing that like
That thing is terrifying.
Big Red is awesome.
Um,
If you've ever seen Penn State's mascot,
yeah, dude, that thing's
it's
atrocious.
between him and Purdue Pete, those are two horrifying mascots.
That thing. Oh yeah, the Boilermaker
Yeah.
dude. He is the boiler up. I know.
Both of you watch your damn mouth.
You can have whatever allegiance you want to your college football 25 teams. Purdue Pete is scary.
That is a terrifying looking mascot.
But I think that Penn State is still trotting out their mascot that they made out of paper mache from the 50s. And oh my God. It's bad.
I don't know if they've changed the uniform on the mascot since World War II.
Don't think they have. Honestly, what I think is that they pretty frequently get new mascot costumes, and it's just the same, just piece of shit. Just whatever you want to call it, it's probably the right thing, unless you say something like in the realm of cute.
They contract out to the Amish to get it made.
They went over to Lancaster, PA to get it made.
Exactly. What a place. Matt, do you have a scariest mascot? Or do you have a favorite orange team aside from Bowling Green?
I said I'm big on Bowling Green. I don't know if I have a scariest mascot. As you started talking about mascots, only thing I could think of was the like BYU's mascot when he used to get involved with the dances.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
lit. That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
I got.
Definitely not scary, but
He was lit.
an intimidating figure because that's just a buff ass cougar.
I mean, if you're Uga, Bevo's terrifying.
Yeah, that is true. Honestly, Ralphie
Yeah.
it's so sick. It's probably the most badass mascot. Watch out when that's running around Folsom Field, dude. Last one I got just a kooky question, if you would. What coach would have the best decorations or worst decorations, costumes, and candy at their house for some trick or treating?
Oh, best.
Because I got a best and a worst.
I got a best. R.I.P. Mike Leach, man.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, if I'm going with current coaches, though, Sam Pittman at Arkansas
He
for
definitely
best.
I was between the rich guys and the fat guys.
Yeah, worst,
I didn't
I'd
know
say
what to do.
Dabo. Dabo's
That's
Dabo's giving you like the biblical. You remember the biblical candy you used to get, the
That's-
little like biblical eggs at the Easter egg hunt at church. That's what Dabo's giving you, and those things are awful.
I said Lane Kiffin for my current guy as for the best, just because he's got
Yeah.
so much money
Yeah,
that I think that he'd have some crazy costume. That
well, I think his wife might have a crazy costume, but I don't want to see it.
I think his daughter's picking out his costume. But then I also said Dabo. I said my note says Dabo probably has great decorations with a shitty costume, and he's probably handing out Christian pamphlets, which is fine. I'm a Christian man. Not exactly what you're seeking for on Halloween when your sole goal is as much Reese's and Snickers.
I had a
and
neighbor
Twix
as a
possible.
kid who they were like, uber religious family, which no knock to you if you're uber religious, but just one of those just Bible thumpers. And they watched, I think it was Crossman or something like that. It was some superhero that was religious based. That's what Dabo Sweeney would dress up as.
I agree. But those were my spooky questions. I don't know if you
I like that we were
anything else?
both on
Chat-
Dabo for the same reasons.
had to
Chad, if you have answered these questions, feel free
answers
to bring it
or
in.
other questions.
Apparently,
please.
there's 35 of y'all on Twitter, so feel free to hit up the chat.
Well, you get your chats in. I'll go ahead and dive into some Jersey stuff. Best uni of the week. UCF brought out yet another new Space U design. As much as I hate the Central Florida Golden Knights, it's so good every year. And this new one this year might be my favorite. It's like a moon looking gradient it's hard to describe, but it's so good. My uniform matchup of the week is Army's going with their black jerseys and pants with obviously gold helmets against the Air Force all whites. Oh,
that'll be clean.
Air Force might have the best helmet in college football.
Might be a sneaky over game.
Oh, I thought about it.
It might be a sneaky over
That could have
game.
been an extra point for me. But that Air Force all white is one of the cleanest looks you'll find in any level of football. And then Army is just so classic. That's you get 2 service academies together. They're usually both going to be looking sharp. Yeah. Some other notes that I had: Tennessee going with their blackouts, which are always so good. I don't if you saw the video that they made from it was electric. It was so good.
Nothing like a team that doesn't have black in their colors wearing black. Any chance I have to bash Tennessee, I will.
I'm an NC State fan. It's the same way. It drives me insane. Rice and South Alabama go with military appreciation helmets this week. The Rice one is so clean. It's their usual silver helmet, but it's got Rice written on the side, and inside it's got the American flag. They got a red, white, and blue, kind of like 3 stripes down the middle. It's sweet. It absolutely murders my soul to say the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is one of the best dressed teams this week. They've had
what you want, but their jerseys are clean.
I know. I'll never fully admit it, but I also understand it. But they've had their Carolina blue throwbacks for the last few years. They brought out the away ones this year, the whites, and it's clean. I can't lie. Troy also going with some throwbacks this week, and they look real solid. A big week for throwbacks, just with a lot of schools having homecoming, and I don't know what else has been announced since I kind of put this little compilation of stuff together. But the last one I got is Oklahoma State. They're going with some. I think 1912 was the year.
It was like 1908. But it was something way back.
They're typical jerseys, but their helmets. It's got the OA, which is basically.
It was Oklahoma Agriculture.
They were Oklahoma A&M College way back in the day, and so that was the OA. I think it just might have been Oklahoma Athletes because it was kind of just like this little coalition of athletes. Whatever the
meaning behind.
But then they got, I don't know if you've seen like the players like wearing long sleeves and leggings and everything, all
with
black with the orange stripes.
They were clean. Not a big orange guy, but they were clean.
They're going to be looking real good. So that's basically all I got for jersey stuff. I don't see any chats right now.
I don't see any chats. I had one other take I didn't get off earlier. This game, the Penn State Ohio State game, I know Fox and the Big Ten love Big Noon Kick. That not being a night game is a freaking travesty.
I completely agree.
It's a travesty.
I understand Big Noon Kickoff and all that. I've never had much of a problem with it because it always starts the slate off with typically a huge
good game. Yeah.
This game has to be played at night. This should be the whiteout. It does suck when you get games of
which I still don't get caliber. Why. I can't remember who said it. If it was Big Cat or somebody like that. Why can't you just do a whiteout at?
You definitely can. It just doesn't have the same effect, but you could 100%. A lot of them are usually wearing white.
He was like, give it a whiteout kind of feeling. Well, just make it a whiteout.
Exactly. As cool as the nighttime whiteout is, it doesn't have to be at night. You could just all show up, wear white anyways. The team's gonna be wearing all white. And no, that's not true. They wear navy jerseys with their
whiteout. Yeah.
Which is another thing in itself. If we want to get back into the topic of jersey. That's a travesty. A game of this caliber with that kind of tradition should be played.
Yeah.
Should be played at night.
I think that about does it for week 10 of the Down East Sports College Football Show. We appreciate great viewership this week. Oh, yeah. We appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, give us a follow. Feel free to ask us questions whenever. We'll do our best to answer. Retweet and just shout us out to a friend. We'll continue talking about ECU coaching search. We got FAU next week when we see you on Thursday.
Who knows what setting we'll be in for what we do with the show.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
We could have something up our sleeve.
Be on the lookout.
We'll see. We'll see.
On the lookout.
But appreciate everyone tuning in. This has been the Down East Sports College Football Show from Jacob, Matt, and Paul. We are out of here. Later on.